Hello, my name is Nicholas Monger, and today I will be discussing my thoughts on the MUS150 class. So first off, we have the engagement project, where we got to interview someone who is not involved in music normally, like in music making, rather. And I got to discuss Sarah's thoughts, and Sarah told me a lot about how her family actually engaged with music, and they like connect with it, right? They have certain songs where they're just like connecting with music. And I thought that was really cool how music can just bring people together like that. Have like family songs where you come together and everybody knows the lyrics and everybody sings it and has fun. And I just thought that was really cool. So yeah, it just brings people together like that. It's really cool. Now for the leadership project, I got to make my own instrument, which I've never even thought about making my own instrument before, which is really cool. While some of it was kind of finicky and hard to work with. It was really interesting to see how I could use this to teach things I hadn't like looked at through that perspective before. Like for instance, my Makey project was like a circular shape. It was a UFO, it was a circular shape, right? And something that I figured I could use with this was I could teach scales and how it relates to itself by using the circular shape of the scale, right? How it relates to itself, it goes back to itself always. And I thought that was really cool for like visual learners, where normally you just see notes on a page going up and down, or just going up and and you don't really understand how it relates to itself from that, and or you just learn it on your instrument, and as a visual learner, that doesn't really make any sense, right? Because you're just feeling it. That doesn't really make it understand up here. It may make you understand here, but it doesn't make you understand up here how it relates to itself. So I thought it was really interesting to be able to teach people using that as a way for like visual learners to understand how to relate back to itself. So I got to learn how to use alternative solutions to teach different kinds of people. Now for musicianship, I learned that anybody can make music. Literally anybody can make music. Now there's so many things out there where you just don't need to know how to use notation or how to use instruments. You can just make music. So it really opens up for anybody to make their own song, to make their own music. And I thought that was really cool, how you can really get anybody to make music using that. In addition, for people who do make music or play an instrument, it also opens up more sounds to work with, more tones to work with, to where you can make new types of songs, new genres that you wouldn't be able to make before, right? Because instruments have certain limitations, and this doesn't really have limitations. You can do whatever you want with it. And it's constantly expanding with technology advancing. For the scholarship, I got to read many pieces. I read the inclusivity piece and the assessment and evaluation pieces are the two main ones I got out of, two main things I got stuff out of, right? And the inclusivity thing was really cool because I got to think more about how to include people, which I've never really thought about before. We didn't really have that in my high school, where we had like special ed students or just people with disabilities come into our classroom. And my brother's actually disabled, so it was really interesting for me to learn how to get more people into music that normally wouldn't be able to do it, right? So it was really cool to talk about just like adding stuff to instruments to make it more accessible for different kinds of people, or like just making new instruments in order to help people that normally wouldn't be able to do like all the other stuff necessary for it, right? So that was really cool. And the evaluation and assessment reading was really cool too, because I had never known about the difference between evaluations and assessments, and I'd never actually known the purpose. I just thought it was a test you had to take that was kind of useless, especially with SOLs in schools, where it wasn't really like what we had learned in class. It was just a set standard that you had to know, and it was like multiple choice, and it wasn't really like a test of your actual knowledge. So it was really cool to explore that and how it really affects us, and how we can more use that to teach and to gather information from what we are learning through the teaching, right? So that's cool. And the overall theme that I got from all of this was inclusivity. And something just with inclusivity, I saw it throughout each theme, how the more we did with technology, the more it brought more groups of people into music making and music learning, right? So with the engagement thing, families who aren't making music, they still use it as connections, and with the Makey, it allows more people to learn music easier, right? So I just think that's really cool how inclusivity is used in that kind of way.